Right. So, I mean, because that's what we're doing.
That is right. You're
I
right.
mean,
You're on money.
there's another way I said, it's interesting. We always couch it as we have to educate. We should
Good afternoon, everybody. We're calling to this meeting to order. I note that some of our participants are participating via video conference. Today's public meetings are also being live streamed from the Port Authority's website. We'll now hold the public committee meeting, starting with the Committee on Finance, which Commissioner LaBarbera will chair. We will then hold a Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, which I will chair, and we will conclude the public portion of today's meeting with a public board meeting. At this point, we're going to welcome, first of all, in person, our newest commissioner, Marie-Therese Dominguez, and we're going to have a formal swearing in for you at the public portion in about 15 or 20 minutes. The new commissioner was appointed to the board by Governor Hochul, and we look forward to her joining our board and more at the public board meeting. Let's now start the public session on our Committee on Finance. Commissioner LaBarbera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's meeting of the Committee on Finance is being held in public session. At this point, I ask Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the Committee on Finance and any commissioner recusals on the matter before the committee at today's meeting.
The Committee on Finance is composed of Commissioner LaBarbera, the committee chair, Commissioner McCabe, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners Fine, Kelly, and Richardson. All committee members are present. Also present today are Chairman O'Toole, Commissioners Bolwage, Dominguez, Eve, Fisher, Helmy, and there are no recusals required as there are no requests for action.
Thank you very much. I now call on our Chief Financial Officer, Libby McCarthy, to present the financial performance results for the first half of 2025. Libby.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners. I'll open with my usual reminder that this 6-month unaudited condensed financial information is best understood in conjunction with the financial statements of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and the accompanying notes thereto for the year ended December 31st, 2024, which are available on the Port Authority's website. In addition, please note that the results that I'm showing today were prepared in accordance with the Port Authority's bond resolution, which is the basis of reporting that we use to set our budgets and is included in the unaudited condensed financial statements, which were prepared in accordance to GAAP and will be posted on our website later today. Overall, Port Authority had very strong results in the first 6 months of this year. Net operating revenues totaled approximately $1.4 billion for the period. And excluding the capital write-off in 2025, as you can see on this chart, net operating revenue was equal to 2024, the same period in 2024. Also excluding that capital write-off in the period, net operating revenue was $73 million or 5% higher than planned for the period. The authority's net revenues available for debt service totaled $1.8 billion for the 6-month period, which was approximately 4% lower than 2024 and about 1.5% lower than planned. But it's important to note that both of those results are the result of the timing of aviation-related grant and passenger facility charge revenues versus the original budget timing, and that is expected to reverse as the year progresses. Let me start now with an overview of our activity, as I usually do. And again, just to orient you to this chart, the green line represents the activity during 2020, the first 6 months of 2025, and the yellow line is the same period in 2024. The chart on the left is our aviation passenger activity, and the chart on the right is our bridge and tunnel vehicle activity. Despite some of the recent challenges, particularly at Newark Airport, the Port Authority's airports continue to experience very strong activity, near the record-setting volumes that we experienced in 2024. More than 68 million passengers traveled through our 3 major airports during the first half of the year. Total volume was approximately 3% lower than 24 levels and 6% lower than planned, but that is almost fully attributed to the flight reductions mandated by the FAA as a result of their ongoing staffing challenges and technology issues at Newark Airport. As well as we have the 1 extra day in 2024 because of leap year in February, and you'll see that consistently as we look at activity across the periods. Activity at JFK and LaGuardia was only 1% below the record-setting levels in 2024. Moving on to the activity at our bridges and tunnels, they totaled 59 million vehicles during the first half of this year, which was approximately 1% lower than the 24 levels and approximately 1% lower than planned. The year-over-year decline in traffic is attributed to a combination, again, of that leap year, which you can see the large dip on the chart in February, as well as the more severe and frequent winter storms in 2025, which do impact our first quarter travel activities. At this point, any potential impact of the implementation of congestion pricing for those traveling into the central business district across our facilities, that remains under review. On this next slide, I'll talk about ports on the left side of the graph and path activity on the right. Our ports continue to be amongst the busiest container ports in the nation. Volume in the first half of the year finished 5% higher than the same period in 2024 and is also 6% higher than our budget. We attribute these results to inventory front-loading given concerns in the marketplace over higher tariffs. You can see on the port slide that the line in the May-June timeframe sort of reversed below the prior year, which is our thoughts about the front-loading. For the first half of the year, Port Authority was ranked the second largest port in the country. And lastly, PATH, like other mass transit systems, commuting systems in the region, continues to have a slower recovery in ridership since the onset of COVID-19. PATH ridership for the first half of 2025 was 7% higher than 24, with more than 29 million trips during the period. The dip in the February ridership is not only attributed to the leap year, which I've talked about, is also somewhat a result of the closure of the Hoboken station during that month, which was needed to perform critical capital improvements. Riderships for the 6 months totaled approximately 72% of pre-COVID activity levels, but in June, that activity level was 75% of pre-COVID levels, which was one of the highest monthly ridership levels we've had on PATH since COVID. And as compared to budget, PATH ridership for the first 6 months of 25 is currently 2% higher than budget. This slide shows the breakdown of our gross operating revenues for the first half of 2025 as compared to the same period in '24, and also compares to our 2025 budget. Gross operating revenues for the first 6 months totaled more than $3.5 billion, which is an increase of $155 million or 5% year over year. This strong performance is primarily driven by higher aviation cost recovery revenues, higher aviation and marine port rental income revenues, and higher tolls at our bridges and tunnels, which is a result in part of the CPI approved adjustment, annual adjustment to the tolls, as well as the additional board-approved 25-cent increase, which became effective in January of this year, and a CPI-based adjustment to path fares that also became effective in January of this year, as well as that higher path ridership I talked about a minute ago. As compared to 2025 budget, gross operating revenues for the 6-month period were 75% or 2% higher than planned, primarily due to higher rental revenues at our airport and marine port facilities. Turning to operating expenses, for the first half of the 2025, they totaled approximately $2.1 billion for the period. When we exclude the actuarial pension and retiree health expense from the calculation, as well as that capital write-off I spoke about earlier, this is a year-over-year increase of $26 million or 1%. That's driven by higher utility costs and higher rent payments to the city of New York and New Jersey, in Newark, connected to our leases on our airport and marine port facilities. As compared to budget, operating expenses were slightly lower or better than planned by 1%. This lower than planned spending is a testament to the agency's focus on cost control measures throughout the first half of the year. Moving on to cash flow and liquidity. Cash from operations for the first 6 months of 2025 was $1.4 billion, which reflects a 10% decrease as compared to the same period in '24, and that's primarily driven by the timing of payments we made to various vendors in the first quarter of this year. Cash and investments totaled $6.3 billion at June 30th, which is $300 million higher than that level at the end of 2024. In addition to our cash and investments, as of June 30th, the Port Authority had approximately $440 million of capital to support our liquidity to support our capital plan, and that consists of capital funds on hand as well as available bank revolving capacity. And when excluding general reserve fund and capital funds, our cash and investments as of June 30th represented 345 days of cash on hand. And then finally, looking at our bonds and other financing obligations as of June 30th, they totaled $28.3 billion, which is $211 million or 1% higher to the balances at the end of 2024. And this is a result of the issuance of new debt during the second quarter of this year to support our capital program, as well as to support our support of the Gateway Program's Hudson Tunnel project. This concludes my remarks, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Libby. Do any commissioners have comments or questions regarding the report? Hearing none, this concludes today's meeting on the Committee on Finance. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner LaBarbera. We'll now start the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management. At this point, I ask the Board Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the committee and any commissioner recusals on the matters before the committee.
The committee is composed of Vice Chairman Linford, the committee chair, Chairman O'Toole, the committee vice chair, Commissioners Dominguez, Helmy, and LaBarbera. In addition, all committee members are present with the exception of Vice Chairman Linford. Also present are Commissioners Bollwage, Eve, Fine, Fisher, Kelly, McCabe, and Richardson. There are no recusals required.
Great. Thank you. Now call upon our Chief Development Officer, Derek Utter, to present the capital performance results from the first half of 2025. We've gone over these numbers in executive a number of times, Derek, but I think it's a good opportunity for the public to see how we're doing for the first half of this year.
Great. Thank you, Chairman. So I'll jump into it. First half of the year, we will report about almost $1.4 billion of spending on our capital program. That's about a $200 million increase from where we were in 2024. Relative to what we had budgeted for the full year $3.6 billion, of which about 1.6 was meant to be spent in the first half of the year. First half of the year tends to be a little bit lighter, primarily because of weather. We ended up spending 88% of that amount that we had planned. In terms of our schedule milestones, the other main metric that we focus on, we hit 93% of our schedule milestones, and you'll see that's an improvement versus the last couple of years. So in terms of the history of capital spending, you'll see that we spent in aggregate more prior to COVID. You'll see a drop-off in 2020 and beyond. The dark blue portion of the chart is the first half of the year. The light blue is the second half, so the total year is in the sum of the two. You'll see that the first half of this year so far is the highest level that we've spent since COVID. So we're definitely on the upswing, and we expect that to continue. In terms of the schedule milestones, I report on this each quarter just to refresh. Every project from large to small has two milestones. One is the end of the pre-construction phase, where we do a lot of planning for a project, and then we award a contract. That's the date that we award the contract is the milestone date. We set that at the beginning of the pre-construction. And then the end of construction is the second milestone date. We also set that at the beginning of the construction. So those two milestones, we have about 100 milestones a year. We hit 50 of the 54 milestones in the first half of the year. You'll see relative to the last several years, this is definitely an improvement. Our goal is to hit 90% of our scheduled milestones. We are now at that, slightly above that, and we hope to hold that throughout the course of this year. The improvement is the result of a handful of things. We really dissect each of our misses quite closely, almost like a CompStat. The police department uses a CompStat-style program where we sit down every month with everyone involved across the agency, and we dissect our misses, and we try to understand how we can learn from those and improve. And that's really been a heavy effort, certainly as a result of what we've gotten done this first half of the year. You'll see some of the projects that were completed contract awards, and then some of those that were put into beneficial use. You'll see that most of these are relatively small, although I'll point out the first one on the right, the JFK redevelopment Central Substation number 2. That's an important milestone as we make progress towards opening new terminals next year. This is a new substation on the campus just adjacent to where the new Terminal 1 will go. It will power the new Terminal 1, the new Terminal 6, and the new Central Ground Transportation Center. So getting that online so that we can provide power to the terminals as they go into the last year prior to opening was an important step on the overall progress. So that concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions.
So the commissioners, anyone? Okay, thank you, Derek. All right, that concludes today's meeting on the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, and we're now moving ahead to the public board meeting. Good afternoon. The board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via video conference, with the proceedings live streamed through the Port Authority website. Earlier today, the Committee on Operations met in executive session. The Committee on Finance, as well as the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, both met earlier in today's public sessions. Their reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meetings. The Commissioners also met in executive earlier today to discuss matters related to security or public safety, matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof or the public interest, matters related to personnel procedures, and to discuss and act upon matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. First order of business, we'd like to welcome the new Commissioner, Maria Teresa Dominguez, to the Port Authority, and we're going to have an official swearing in soon, as the tradition, as we've had for many, many years. We're going to begin the ceremony with the Port Authority Police Department Honor Guard and bagpipers, and then the national anthem.
Kevin's
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Where's our police pipes and drums? Mr. Boy, mark time. All right, quick, mark.
All right, everyone could be seated, please. Now we're going to have official swearing in, so if I can have Rick Cotton come join me and the new commissioner.
Gary? Yep. Have I go pictures, come on down. Joe? Carlos? All righty. Should Eve and Rick, if you can both hold the Bible.
Oh, I'd be honored.
Commissioner.
And Liz. Come on, the trifecta.
You figure it out, surrounded by your fellow commissioners to be. Right hand
We
on
gotta look at the
Bible.
camera though.
Right hand up, right hand on the Bible. Okay? Here you go. Here you go.
Left hand on the Bible.
Ready? I state your name.
Marie Therese Dominguez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will
the
support
Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the
discharge
duties
the duties
of the office of Commissioner of Port Authority
Commissioner of Port Authority
of New York and New Jersey,
of New York and New Jersey,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, while we're waiting for the commissioners back here, just some trivia that I know Jeff, the vice chair, would get this right. Commissioner Dominguez, you are the 162nd commissioner to be sworn into the Port Authority. Now, think about that. From 1921 to present day, there's been 161 commissioners before, and you are the 162nd. For those who are keeping score, there's been 22 chairs, 25 vice chairs, and 16 EDs. Commissioner Dominguez, we welcome you to this volunteer board. It requires a lot of long hours, and I will tell you, you will come to appreciate, which I'm sure you have already, that the Port Authority is a very special organization with very special people with a very special mission. And much which you've come across the Port Authority's infrastructure and organization over the years. You know, if you looked at your background and said, Give me a prototypical Port Authority commissioner who has all the requisite experience in transportation, both federally, state, county, and look at all of your reach, the missions you've done, the roadways you oversee, the projects you've been involved with. You would be the perfect Port Authority commissioner that we would dream of. And we welcome you and your expertise to this. We do a lot here, as you well know, and your fellow commissioners will tell you. This is a job you're all in. You will find out as you walk through the facilities and meet our Port Authority employees, there are no finer, more committed employees, bar none, than those folks who work with the Port Authority. So on behalf of the board, on behalf of the commissioners, on behalf of the 8,000 employees, we welcome you as our newest commissioner. Congratulations. Anybody else want to say anything? Yes, Commissioner Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to welcome the wonderful Maria Therese Dominguez to the Port Authority Board. She brings unbelievable expertise in transportation and infrastructure. I had the honor of working with the commissioner in the Governor Hochul's administration, and I know personally that not only does she have this expertise and knowledge that she will bring to the Port Authority, she has tremendous judgment. She is such a collegial partner and a commitment to public service that exceeds any expectation that any of us would have for a member, a colleague, and she brings great humor. So I am so looking forward to having you on board, and I'm particularly pleased that I will no longer be the newest member of the board, and you are immediately going to make yourself an indispensable commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Executive Director Cotton.
Well, I regard this as almost a matter of personal privilege because I have worked with the commissioner in New York State government. I have worked with the commissioner as she and her department oversaw two major construction projects, one at the Kew Gardens interchange and one on the widening of the Van Wyck, which continues to this day. While we had obviously major construction projects, both at LaGuardia and at Kennedy, which obviously continues. And just day in and day out, she's a person who solves problems. She's a person who is collegial and who just works to get things done. And she does have an extraordinary commitment to the public interest, which is simply the lodestar by which she steers. So I would just say, Commissioner, thank you for everything that you brought to the table as you and I have worked together, and I look forward to continuing that enormously positive working relationship as you join the board of the Port Authority. Welcome.
Welcome. Anybody else want to be heard? All righty, moving ahead to the next issue. We're going to show a brief video of a recent visit that Rick Cotton and I took throughout the facility. For the last 8 years, Rick and I have made it a point to go to the various points of Port Authority operations and meet the personnel and meet in their places of work. And I will tell you, Rick, it has been, to me, the most rewarding part of being a commissioner here is meeting those individuals in their workplace, having a conversation with them about what they like, what they don't, and how we can be better partners and provide a better service to the public. And when you went around, you know, whether it was the Port or PATH or whether it was LaGuardia, you just found such an enthusiastic group of employees that love doing what they do. And you find individuals who have worked 20 and 30 years here, and they're not looking at the clock saying, I want to retire at 30. They want to continue being a part of this legacy and this mission that was set out in 1921. And one of the individuals, one of the employees we came across was an individual who was at the 9/11, was one of the individuals who was buried in the tower and was buried alive for 24 hours. Came out of it, obviously after recovery, and came to work with us for a long period of time, still working. As a matter of fact, we're going to have that individual come speak to us in the September meeting and talk about her experience, which she actually wrote a book about. But it's that can-do attitude that really embodies the Port Authority. it's a great challenge. We are challenged every day with transportation needs, and there are good days and there's some bad days, but I will tell you, the Port Authority employees, they're absolutely committed to getting it right every single day, and we couldn't be more proud of them. So if we can just roll the tape and just show a little snippet of what we went through a couple weeks ago. our Port Authority employees, thank you for all that you do. This time, I'd like to also congratulate our Commissioner, Chris Baldwidge, on his recent reappointment to the board of, by Governor Murphy for another 6-year term. Commissioner, congratulations. I request our Executive Director to provide his report. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we reach the end of the first half of this year, I want to briefly, in my report, or really instead of my traditional report, review the highlights of the agency throughout the first half of 2025. The Port Authority in January reached financial close on a $1.9 billion TIFIA loan from the federal government to fund the first phase of the multi-billion-dollar Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Project. In Q1 and Q2 of 25, the agency made major progress on early works on the multi-billion-dollar project for the design and construction of the new Newark Airport Air Train, which is anticipating a groundbreaking later this fall. Terminal A at Newark this year achieved the milestone of having served nearly 40 million passengers and has received accolades from leading rating and awards organizations across the aviation industry as it provides this service to our customers. In a similar vein, the agency announced 3 different honors in 2025 for LaGuardia Airport, from third-party rating agencies placing LaGuardia either at the top or in the very front ranks of U.S. airports. In March, the agency opened a second sensory room at the award-winning new Terminal A at Newark, serving neurodivergent travelers with sensory issues. We completed in March the replacement of all 592 original suspender ropes on the George Washington Bridge, a key step forward in the $2 billion Restore the George program designed to extend the bridge's life for another 100 years. We made strides on the agency's aggressive environmental EV charging infrastructure agenda with 2 milestones, one in May, opening the first truck chargers to the public at Port Newark, and one in March, where we opened 24 new fast chargers at JFK Airport, more than doubling the airport's charging capacity. We reached in March a landmark agreement with APM Terminals at our seaport on a lease extension that will secure major new investments and capital capacity enhancements at the seaport's second largest terminal. We unveiled in March the details for a $160 million plan for faster, more frequent, and more reliable Q70 bus service to LaGuardia, featuring a new on-airport bus loop with new exclusive bus lanes on the Bronx, the BQE and the GCP expressways, installing priority traffic signals for the buses, and providing enhanced wayfinding. In conjunction with Earth Month, we celebrated the complete decarbonization of the first Port Authority building, the historic Newark Airport Building 1, which will serve as a template for the decarbonization of all buildings going forward. Opened in April, a $270 million state-of-the-art consolidated cargo handling center at JFK Airport that will increase its capacity, the airport's capacity and efficiency for cargo movement. We continue the Port Authority's commitment to innovation by hosting in June the first flight of an all-electric aircraft into one of our large commercial airports, specifically JFK. We broke ground in June on the $160 million Newark Airport Station Access Project, which will connect the communities of Newark and Elizabeth with the Newark Air Train, Amtrak, and New Jersey Transit, and right a wrong done to the residents surrounding Newark Airport. We graduated in June 123 new police officers into the Port Authority Police Department, following the approval by the board of a record $1 billion in the agency's security efforts. And topping off the list of accomplishments of the agency in the first half of the year, we broke ground at the end of May on the first phase of the historic and long overdue replacement of the Midtown Bus Terminal, and then last month achieved board approval of the award of one of the most consequential construction projects in this historic project. We are grateful to the employees of the Port Authority who make this impressive list of its accomplishments possible. We also continue to be grateful to the represented employees who make up 2/3 of our workforce and to the leaders of the unions who represent them. That is quite a record of accomplishments for the first 6 months of 2025. I would, however, like to end my report by taking note of the derailment that occurred at the Path Hoboken station 10 days ago. I want to apologize to Path riders who have been inconvenienced by disruptions to service. I want to assure everyone that the agency is working as hard as possible to get service restored to its original levels. We have made great progress on that front, and I want to ask our Chief Operating Officer to come to the podium and describe or provide an update on that July 4th to July 12th Path Hoboken derailment.
Thank you. And I want to also extend my apologies to passengers that were impacted and are dealing with the current level of service. I also want to give assurance that we're working around the clock to find out what went wrong and put the proper fixes in place to get back to a safe operating normal service. So where we are today, since the event last Saturday, is we've been in a safe way increasing service over time. So today we've kind of stabilized the operation at the Hoboken station. We're running 10-minute headways versus an 8-minute, which is the normal during weekday peaks. Regular service has been restored on off-peak weekdays and on weekends. We've adjusted the countdown clocks for both Hoboken lines so that passengers can get real-time information on when trains are coming. We've implemented Path text alerts to communicate the new 10-minute schedule during those peak periods, and we've provided additional Path customer experience agents to assist passengers. In addition to that, Path is currently providing alternate to customers during those peak periods. $3 discounted ferry option from Hoboken Ferry Terminal in Hoboken to Midtown or downtown during those peak periods. New Jersey Transit Light Rail will cross honor between Hoboken, Newport, and Exchange Place, and New Jersey Transit Rail cross honor to get from into New York Penn Station directly if you ride the rail. In the meantime, I mentioned we're working around the clock. We are working with the manufacturer of the switch. We're working with internal and external experts to find out what is wrong. It appears that the switch is defective, and we need to put the proper fixes in place. So we're working on that, and as soon as we get that fix in place, we'll be implementing that and get back to normal service.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much, Rick. Appreciate it. All right, we're now going to have an opportunity for the members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which may be limited to 30 minutes in total, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but does not provide for a dialogue. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific item with Port Authority staff are asked to contact our Public Affairs Department. Speakers are asked to comply with a fixed time limit of 3 minutes. Our first speaker is State Senator Raj Mukherjee. Senator, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners, for your service, for your leadership. Since I'm from Hudson County, I do have to specifically acknowledge mayors, so Your Honor, good to see you this afternoon. On critical CapEx that's been necessary for ongoing infrastructure improvements to the past stations, to infrastructure for the bus terminal replacement and the new Terminal A, and a number of other recent accomplishments, I am in your debt, as are my constituents. But today I'm here to talk about a couple of things. First, want to highlight for you an appropriation that is juxtaposes with a bill sponsored by Speaker Coughlin in the New Jersey Assembly and myself in the Senate, resulted in something in the budget that the governor signed into law, which will result in a $3 million loan redemption and training program specifically for air traffic controllers. No college or university in New Jersey presently participates in the FAA's UAS or collegiate training initiative, which allows colleges to prepare students for careers in aviation. We're hoping to catalyze that in an institution. that is actually hosted in one of your commissioners' hometowns, Kane University, and want to highlight that for you. We could talk more about that at a later time. That's a long-term thing, but this is not a problem that is going to go away anytime soon, even though that's not a short-term solution. And with respect to the path, the timer is very helpful. I'll summarize. While recent accomplishments are laudable, today I want to ask for that same brand of creativity and the responsiveness you've shown me in the past on other issues to be channeled to an incredibly pressing need. I know you've heard from a high volume of New Jerseyans. It's always great to be here in Manhattan, my favorite suburb of Jersey City and Hoboken, but many of my constituents have been writing to me about path frequency and reliability. I understand that the headways right now are temporary while these critical infrastructure improvements are made. I just continue to ask that you please do everything that you can to get us to 5 to 10, maybe 10 minute headways that we know are achievable once we're back on track, no pun intended, because this essential mass transit service could boost the regional economy if we can get closer to the peak schedule on weekdays and avoid overcrowding, missed connections, and delays. And finally, and thank you for acknowledging Executive Director Cotton, the incident in Hoboken, but we can never let a good crisis go to waste. We can use this perhaps, and I'm at your disposal if I can help with the coordination with New Jersey Transit to get Hoboken riders over to Exchange Place using increased light rail or bus options. And then they'll see 10-minute headways over there. Would love to see increased coordination as a stopgap measure so that our riders have something available to them as an option while we're suffering the recovery from the incident. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Senator. Commissioner Bill O'Day. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I want to acknowledge first the work that's currently being done by the riders and residents behind the A Better Path campaign. Their advocacy is focused, informed, and deeply rooted in their real-life lived experiences. They're not asking for miracles. They're asking for answers, for accountability, and for respect as the people who rely on PATH each and every single day. We all know the numbers. What matters now are human costs, missed family time, lost wages, sleepless nights. Riders aren't demanding luxuries. They're demanding a baseline level of service that treats their time and safety as essential. The truth is, if PATH system is poorly run, it doesn't just delay commutes. It disrupts lives. The ask is straightforward. Improve weekday off-peak service. Run more weekend trains between Newark and the World Trade Center. And if those can't happen immediately, explain why. Tell us what the real constraints are. No more late-night service changes with no notice. No more treating public feedback as a nuisance. If you fail to let us be part of the solution, you give us no option but force us to become part of the problem. I know that based on past experience, that when the PA works with local elected officials and the community, solutions can happen. We also need clarity. What is the actual timeline for Path Forward? What will improved service look like next year? What upgrades are happening, and when will riders see the difference? Transparency is a duty. On safety, fires, tunnel evacuations, chaos, Path must start publishing incident data, just like the MTA. Riders deserve full accountability. Path is not an accessory to our region's economy. It's the backbone. If the Port Authority wants public trust, we have to earn it. This campaign is not going to go away. I stand with the residents making these demands because they're not just right, they're necessary. Working together, not as adversaries, is the right path. Let's get on it. And you know, today, since I was going to speak about PATH, I took the PATH train. I probably took the first PATH train 55 years ago when I was 10 years old, and my dad took me to an ECAC college basketball game at Madison Square Garden. PATH is so important to us. It's so important that people work here, people visit here. It's part of our lifeline. But we've got to work together. We've got to bring the community and these advocacy groups inside the tent, not leave them outside the tent. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Ravi Bala, Hoboken. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. And I just want to start by thanking the Director for publicly acknowledging and apologizing for the delays in Hoboken recently. We appreciate that acknowledgement and recognition and commitment to do a better job. So thank you very much, Director Cotton. I initially planned to discuss improvements for service during off-peak hours. However, over the course of this month, the PATH in Hoboken has undergone virtually daily disruptions, and I want to voice my frustration on behalf of the thousands of Hoboken residents that depend on reliable service to and from Manhattan. Specifically, the 12-hour outage on July 12th, followed by continued delays in the following weeks, which are ongoing, are not only disruptive, they are problems that the Port Authority has to provide concrete and transparent explanations as to why these disruptions are occurring and what the Port Authority is doing to rectify switch malfunctions in the interlocking system on the Hoboken track. These breakdowns are not isolated incidents. They're symptomatic of systemic infrastructure failures that demand urgent action. Just earlier this year, Hoboken supported a full station closure in February. That $31 million investment was supposed to strengthen the system. Now my community asks, what exactly was fixed? And why are switch failures still plaguing service? More importantly, why isn't the Port Authority treating this as an emergency? We are told that the replacement parts need to be fabricated and installed a second time, which won't be until Labor Day. What assurance do we have that the PATH will stick to this timeline? What assurance do we have that newly installed parts will not also malfunction? What will be the timeline for installation of these replacement parts, and will this create another disruption to similar to the February stoppage? If we have answers to these basic questions, if we don't have answers to these basic questions, it is reasonable for PATH riders to be frustrated and outraged by the current malfunctioning of the PATH system on a daily basis. I do want to acknowledge the Port Authority's recent announcement of cross-honoring in various ways, a step in the right direction, but I'm also specifically right now asking that PATH riders living north of the terminal and rely on the Newark Waterway ferries at 14th Street also receive the $3 cross-honoring fares, as well as cross-honoring the 126 bus line in Hoboken as well. This will give the public the confidence that the Port Authority is doing everything possible to mitigate disruptions caused by the infrastructure malfunctions happening right now. In conclusion, communication is important. I've got 20 seconds left. It's critical. I had a very productive conversation in private yesterday with the Port Authority leadership team, and I would encourage the Port Authority to continue to engage mayors and public officials so we can communicate and collaborate as a team towards a common goal. There should be more frequent, communication between leadership of the Port Authority and the mayors that represent the communities impacted by the functioning of the PATH. And the public needs more than apologetic tweets. Again, we need clear answers. Hoboken is ready to work with the Port Authority. We expect reliability, transparency, and urgency in return. Thank you for your time and partnership.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Emily Jabour. I would just ask the folks to try to keep to 3 minutes. We've got 35 speakers that are going to be here, so we're going to be here for a bit. Emily, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you to the commissioners for being here today. I'll try to be brief. I rise today to speak on behalf of Hoboken's residents who have had to suffer some ongoing frustration, certainly with recent service. I think what happened in February in terms of the closure was a great success story. The partnership that happened with the city council, with the mayors, I think the communication was really incredible during that period of time, and it prepared our residents to know what to come to expect. Council members often are sort of boots on the ground when it comes to to hearing from residents and constituents. And I take great pride in being able to inform my residents about what's happening. So I would love to stand here in partnership with all of you to share as much information as possible in a timely way. Certainly, I appreciate all of the path alerts. People in a time of social media seek whatever information they can, typically in that route and fashion, and anything that we can do to bolster that, we would like to continue to support you in that. I thank my fellow electeds for being here today, Senator Mukherjee, Mayor Bala, Councilman Solomon, Commissioner O'Day, because all of us need to be part of the solution together in order to serve what's best for our communities. We rely on this service. It is part of what makes Hoboken a destination, both for residents and for our visitors. And it is my job to make sure that I speak on behalf of all of them to ensure the best possible service so that Hoboken continue to be successful. And I want PATH to be successful for all of us, and certainly for all of you in the work that you do. Thank you as well to the advocates. I know I've been part of the conversations with Better Path and the Hudson County Complete Streets efforts that are a part of this. I think that they want to be part of the solutions too. We all are working towards the same goal, and anything I can do in service of that, I stand ready. So thank you all so much for the updates today. I hope you will continue to do that with all of us, and we can help share in those communications. Thank you so much.
Councilman, thank you very much for that. Councilman James Solomon. James?
Jersey and of New York, and Jersey and of New York. And reliable, regular service is what we need. And unfortunately, too often, we have not gotten that over the last couple of years. And so I ask today to ask you as the commissioners to partner with the PATH leadership and all of us in elected office to deliver that service. On weekdays, off-peak hours, the headways are too long. On weekends, when the Path Forward work completes, we need firm commitments for more frequent headways, 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 10-minute headways on the weekends to ensure that employees can get to their jobs and that people can access the businesses in both New York and New Jersey. Those firm public commitments will go an extraordinarily long way to ensuring and rebuilding trust. If you want to know sort of where trust currently stands with elected officials and with the members of the public, I just encourage you to look at my Twitter notifications. I hope that all of you are seeing some of those as well. But my residents are extremely frustrated. They're extremely angry, and I hear about it every single day. Now, I know you guys are working hard. I know the employees are working hard, but I also know that we together can do significantly better than we've done. And with those firm commitments on off-peak headways on weekdays now and on weekends as Path Forward substantially completes, that will rebuild trust. The second thing, and I saw a little bit of that today, which was wonderful, is transparency. A few months back when there was a fire in one of the tunnels and many of my residents had to evacuate on foot, they reached out to me saying, we didn't hear anything after we left the tunnel. What were the health safety challenges that we faced? What caused this? And then I put those residents in touch with Port Authority, and folks got answers quickly, but there wasn't that immediate communication after the incident happened. There wasn't those public notifications, and they went to their local council person for information. And while I'm always happy to serve, that is another example of where the trust is eroding. So I stand before you today willing to partner, but also with a firm demand. We have to do better on PATH service, and we have to do better soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And to the 5 electeds, thank you very much for bringing those concerns. And Raj, thank you very much for your leadership, and Emily and James and Bill. Really appreciate you folks coming up, and you'll hear more from us soon. Thank you. All right, Jerry Keenan. And Ravi, thank you.
Hi, everybody. Just a little housekeeping. She's taking a couple pictures of me, but I want to say how much of a pleasure it is to see everyone. I'm so happy to see everyone. I'm so happy to be here with friends. It's a terrific day. My name is Jerry Keenan. I'm the president of the New Jersey Alliance for Action, and it is really great to see that the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey is ably planning the region's future. One thing I'd like to address this morning is the continued vitality of our ports. Within 25 years, it's estimated the ports of New York and New Jersey will double their capacity. We're a gateway in that regard for the United States, and the Alliance for Action would like to reiterate its support to the capital construction activities that you're undertaking to make this new capacity a reality. I'm really here also to congratulate the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey on the official groundbreaking ceremonies for both the new Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan and the Newark Liberty International Airport Access Project. Those are two game-changing projects, and it's wonderful, wonderful to see them moving forward. And just as on a personal side, I was honored to be there that day, so thank you very much. As an aside, the Alliance for Action we were founded in 1974. We're an association of business, labor, government, academia, and so on. We're nonpartisan, which is very important, with one goal: to make sure that the region's infrastructure is keeping pace with the needs of our residents and our businesses. I've stated many times, and I'll restate again, that congratulations on your ambitious capital plan for fiscal year 25. It's another important commitment to this region, and I think it's no small coincidence that this year's capital plan is the largest in your history. We're also looking forward to the start of Newark Terminal B, befitting the leadership of our region's busiest airport. And as we know, infrastructure investments being made now will serve generations to come. And finally, just as an aside, I want to say congratulations to our chairman. It's my understanding that your length of service throughout this year will pass both Anthony Kosha and Alan Sagner, each who have served 8 years as chair. Just as Aaron Judge is moving up the list of home run leaders, it's great to see our chairman move into third place on the list of people who have chaired this board. So congratulations to the chairman. Let's hear it. That's right.
Thank you, Jerry.
Quite an accomplishment. And the Alliance for Action, congratulations.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for your partnership. Much appreciated. Jake Efros. Thanks, Jerry. Jake, welcome.
Hi, Commissioners. Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Jake Efros. I'm a candidate for City Council in Jersey City's Heights District, Ward D. I am here on behalf of Hudson County Complete Streets and other advocacy groups who are fighting the good fight for the Better Path campaign. I'll also just start briefly by sharing that Heights residents also rely very heavily on the Port Authority bus terminal, the Midtown bus terminal, and I hear constantly about problems with the bus terminal being convoluted, confusing, often deeply disorganized. I know that myself from going through it. So any more information that can be provided on what the upcoming plans are to renovate and improve the bus terminal, greatly appreciated, because residents are deeply concerned about it. But yeah, primarily here today to talk about PATH service. Many Heights residents, speaking of Hoboken, have the Hoboken PATH stop as their closest PATH stop, more so than Journal Square or anywhere else in Jersey City. So the Hoboken disruption is definitely close to home for us. And the priorities, again, to echo some of the former speakers, are having improved off-peak service on weekdays, so we can reduce those headways, and also the additional weekend service be improved and expanded. Workers don't just work 9 to 5 jobs, as we know, right? As someone who's worked in food and beverage service myself, we know that people pull odd hours that are outside of that normal window. That is, a more and more regular thing for working people who are working not just one job, but 2 jobs, 3 jobs, right? Late nights, early mornings. Also, as a former union organizer for healthcare workers, we know nurses, nursing home workers, other caregivers are doing these kinds of odd hours outside that 9 to 5 window. And the service that the PATH provides should reflect that reality of what working people are going through, and what kind of service working people deserve. So advocates understand from Hudson County Complete Streets and beyond that there's the Path Forward project, but again, just to echo, getting more transparent information about what the upcoming plans are would be really helpful. Like, what are the timelines for upcoming renovations? What specific renovations are to come? So from reduced headways to addressing that horribly loud screeching sound on the path when it goes back and forth, especially like as it's stopping, what can we expect in the next year, 2 years, or beyond? So just ultimately, working people in Jersey City and beyond, we deserve better, and we deserve that transparency, so I appreciate you all working with us.
Thank you. Tabitha Johnson? Tabitha? Welcome.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Tabitha. I was made aware of this meeting by Hudson County Complete Streets. I'm glad I'm able to come speak today. Basically, what I would like to address is the safety concerns. So I do understand you have brought forth of how, okay, there's delays or there's overcrowding and stuff, but how are we going to keep the path safe during this time? For example, my experience on the path a couple weeks ago, due to the so many delays of 20 minutes of the train, and then when we were in the train was also delayed for 20 minutes. When we got to the World Trade Center station, the platform was so crowded that when they opened the door, crowds are surging at us. And what happened is that lady fell, and we were telling her, hey, please, do not, watch out. They were not listening to us, because the thing is that this environment that's been created, it is creating this Hunger Games mentality to get on the train. So the thing is, even though I understand there's a lot that you can do later on to fix the systemic issues, but however, safety does need to be fixed now, because I am nervous going onto the trains. Weekends when there is delayed trains, because I do feel like I could be trampled. I do feel like somebody might not listen if I'm below their feet because they are so focused on getting the train. So I hope you're able to address these issues, and especially because the fare has been increased, but yet the service is getting decreased. A lot of citizens can feel like this feels a bit like a scam, and I know you are not scamming us, but it can feel that way. So I'm hoping that safety can be it can really be brought out. And this is a little bit of an anecdote, but I've been watching this series on Netflix called Trainwreck. I don't know if you've heard of it. They speak of the Carnival Cruise Line. They speak of the Travis Scott, the surging what killed many people. I hope that Path does not get a documentary on this. It would be ironic because the series name is called Trainwreck. And so the thing is that I hope you can take this seriously. It's not if, but when a fatality will happen due to surging and trampling. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Murray Bowden?
Testing,
Murray?
testing.
I don't know, Kevin, if you turn around and look behind you, up in the corner is a clock. That's the first time they put it there. The only people that need to know the time are the speakers. And if you notice, more people are saying. The video that you showed before showed the fire trucks lime green. Why isn't everybody as safe as the port authorities? Your leadership is there, but yet the fire trucks are all red and white. They should be the color yours are. But you can't get them because we've done it that way for 50 years. And that's the thing that's wrong. What happened in Texas with the floods is what motivates this presentation today. They knew the flood was coming. They did nothing. Nothing. The warnings were not sent out because they didn't send them out. How does that affect us here? You have a new commissioner over there, Commissioner of New York State DOT, a complete failure. You go out there and it's documented. The rules, the safety rules are not being followed. It's documented. You've seen them. Everybody's seen them. But nobody stops her. She doesn't belong on this board. She should be removed as commissioner immediately because the rules are not being followed. And until you start at the top, the rest is rot. Your traffic engineer is really good. I met with him. But Rick isn't supporting him. If Rick doesn't support him, you got to get rid of Rick too. Sorry, guys. Your responsibility is to see that safety is followed. If they've been doing it for 50 years and they enjoy doing it, get rid of them. Do you think I like doing this? No. But I'm concerned about my grandchildren. You know my email, concerned grandfather. I've been worried about the future for years and years and years. Now that I can see the clock, I will obey it and I will stop early. But you need to get rid of Commissioner there, and Rick's got to go too because he hasn't supported correcting what the traffic engineer knows. Thank you.
So Jerry Rosalo, next resident. And as Jerry's coming up, let me just, people have a right to say what they have to say, and I just ask that people not make personal attacks against certainly the volunteer commissioners here. We're delighted to have Commissioner Dominguez here, delighted to have her experience. Welcome. And look, and I don't normally break, there's been 16 executive directors, and I've studied the history and record of many of them, and we are so fortunate to have the most magnificent executive director this Port Authority has seen, and that's Rick Cotton. Gerald? Gerald's not here. Okay. Mark Bloomberg? Mark, welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Living in New Jersey, I feel like a second-class citizen, even though I pay New York City taxes. Commuting into the city sucks, and getting home is even worse. Whether it's New Jersey Transit, the path, congestion pricing, or the ferry, I'm paying an arm and a leg no matter what I do. And I also spend a lot of my disposable income here in New York. And we need better late-night, more frequent path service. I got my first job in New York City and moved to Hoboken in the 90s. I quickly learned that I had to work late and entertain clients late to get ahead. Not too long after figuring that out, I moved out of Hoboken in large part because of the late night service on the path was so sporadic and inconvenient. So I ended up moving 2 towns north to West New York, where I now regularly take the bus. I've changed jobs. I now work in live events and concerts. So I have a gig tonight. I start work at 4. I get off at midnight at earliest. When I'm coming home, I see lots of exhausted second and third shift workers on the commute. So I'm looking at moving again, and I would love to move back to Hoboken or maybe even Jersey City, but without better off-peak path service, that just isn't going to happen unless something changes. So I'm just one person, but there are economic consequences of the decisions surrounding the services that you provide to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Kaya Mebarak? Kaya? Lauren Cornish? Lauren here? Okay. Arthur Velwest? Arthur, welcome.
Hi, my name is Arthur Velwest. I have been born and raised in Jersey City my whole life. I took the path a lot when I was a kid, and there's 2 main points I'd like to speak about. The first is, as many people have spoken, the off-peak hours are really, really hard for members of Jersey City. If I miss the train by 1 or 2 minutes, or occasionally when the train is 1 or 2 minutes early and I get there on the time it's supposed to be and it's already leaving, there are 20 minutes where I have to wait. People take the path to get to locations, get to things, get to appointments, and if we're 20 minutes late for things, that can be very costly. That can lose people their jobs. It is really important to have off-peak hours be more frequent. I have had the privilege of going to other countries, especially in Europe, that have 10, 8, 5 minutes, even off-peak hours, and I think we can look to those countries on how we can do better. The second point I would like to ask is a reduction or elimination of all the police in stations. This has been increasing over the past few years. The reasons are for public safety and for fare evasions. I do not feel safe. The police have routinely harmed members of my community, and their presence there does not make me feel safe. I have not seen them stop fare evaders. What I have seen them do is I've seen them be on their phones constantly. I've seen them block accessible entrances with signs and with their bodies. This impacts people who use strollers. This impacts people who use mobility devices. This impacts people who use strollers. The Grove Street elevator that has just been made is extremely inaccessible if you have to hold the button down forever. This is a lot of things that make PATH inaccessible that are easy changes. If we want to get more funding against all the fare evasions, stop paying all these cops to just stand around and be on their phones and harass people. Thank you very much.
David Ciano, is David here?
Hi, thank you for having me and allowing us to speak. So what I want to start by saying is I'm nobody. I'm just a regular resident. I'm one of the 500,000 people who ride the PATH over the year. And for me, one thing I also am is extremely proud of where I'm from. I think I live in the greatest city in the greatest country in the world. The only things that I want to be able to do is defend the honor of the Port Authority to my friends who do not live in the greatest city in the country. So when they come here and they say, oh, you have to take the PATH, right? You know, that doesn't come very frequently. I want to be able to say, yes, it does. It's always coming on time. I can always get where I need to be. And I am so happy to live here. And I am just asking for you guys to give us the tools to say that. Help me defend my honor and defend yours. Making sure that we have more frequent trains during the day. You've heard some of the stories from residents about how this impacts our lives. Yes, it's getting to doctor's appointments. It's getting to work. I have friends who work in academia as professors. They don't have a normal 9 to 5. They will go in the middle of the afternoon. I have friends who work in theater, in art. Those things are the times when we love to enjoy entertainment. They're after hours, and the PATH needs to run frequently for all of us to enjoy the craft that they do. So again, I'm nobody. I'm just a rider. I'm one of the 500,000 people who take the PATH during the course of the year. And all I'm asking is make it easier for me to defend you guys and defend that I live in the greatest city in the world. That's what I want to be able to say. So please help us out.
Thank you, David. John McKee. John McKee, please. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Dominguez, congratulations on your new position. Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, congrats once more on the new bus terminal and how productive the PA has been in other areas, as demonstrated by Commissioner Cotton's report. My name is Jack McKee, nickname. I'm with Hudson County Complete Streets, a Better Path campaign. I'm a Jersey City resident and an enthusiastic supporter of public transit. I believe you've heard from several before me. I thank you for hearing PATH riders, elected officials, and the many public comments left on the PATH portal. Chairman O'Toole, I thank you in particular, because my comments in June, I saw your reaction, and I really did feel like you heard me. And you understand the rider challenges. I acknowledge the Path Forward project. You're doing work that will reduce train headways, and it's appreciated. That said, even Path Forward won't be the generational solution to the growing transportation needs of both Hudson and Essex County. We rely on Path, and honestly, the fiscal health of our cities live and die by Path. Small business owners, housing developers, and off-peak workers can all attest to this. So I come to make what I believe is a reasonable and measured ask. Improve off-peak weekday service. I lost my place. Improve off-peak weekdays. Improved off-peak weekdays will not magically transform our world, but it will transform the lives of the off-peak workers we depend on. First responders, healthcare workers, sanitation workers, service workers, and so on. Even bigger than any individual or group, it'll change the perception that service won't improve. It absolutely can improve, but only if we prioritize it. I have hopes for the future of New Jersey that friends and even transit advocates call absurd, but I disagree. I've studied the history of PATH construction. It was achieved by little more than the will to do it, that and a lot of digging by hand. But if we are able to build that at the turn of the 20th century, I can't help but say that with PATH, we're failing to dream as big as we once did. Our ability to dream has waned, but it isn't gone. The new PA bus terminal is a fine example that visionary planning and design still exist, and you are the group to break ground on that. I doubt anyone in this room know better than you that where there's a will, there's a way. To get there with PATH, we need to start small, work cooperatively, and offer the type of transparency that fosters real trust. Off-peak weekday improvements are possible, and you're the team to get it done. I respectfully ask you to make it happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack, and we're all listening. Thank you. Guillermo Sancio? Guillermo? Ready? Joel Brooks? Joel?
Hi there. My name is Joel Brooks. I'm a resident of Jersey City and here with the Better Path campaign, and also to speak for my partner. Her name is Marisol. She's an RN at an acute care center in Manhattan Hospital. She takes care of cardiac and heart attack patients. She works 10 and 12-hour shifts wearing a 25-pound lead vest and has a 2-hour total commute door-to-door round trip. She was born and raised in Manhattan and does not drive, and she relies on PATH. To get cross town, she takes MTA buses, and she's looking forward to fast and free buses under Mayor Mamdani. Knock on wood. Before our daughter was born, I would sometimes drive her in on early shifts and pick her up, but now that's not possible because I have to be home with our daughter. Odd hours, off hours, oftentimes she has to be in at work at 6 a.m. sharp. The institution she works for has a strict attendance policy, so early is on time. She's been delayed, rerouted, stranded, and disrespected, frankly. She's taken the path during whiteout blizzards, pouring rain, blazing heat, a pandemic, and even a curfew in 2020. She took the path in to take care of patients. So again, I'm here to support a Better Path campaign, more frequent off-peak weekday service for first responders and frontline caregivers like Marisol. Please make Esme's mom's commute a little easier, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Bathsheba Gross? Okay. Jason Anthony?
Good afternoon. I hope that those electeds from Jersey don't escape and go away because this message is for them. Jason Anthony, the Transit Guru. First off, I want to congratulate Commissioner Dominguez, one other voice for the Empire State. Welcome, Commissioner, and I hope that you represent those New Yorkers like me because we need voices from New York. So let's start first reminding everybody and those from the west of Hudson that you guys have a privilege. And you guys are in my side of town. And July is Disability Pride Month. First off, elevators. This is at Jamaica. You guys own and operate elevators. Riders like Deborah Greif, Kalia Hazlett depend on mobility devices. When you guys are going to fix the elevators there, thousands of you come from Jersey City and Hudson County. Do you guys know that the MTA, better known as the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, put an elevator at 14th Street, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue on the 1, 2, 3 F&M? Or your station on the Psychopath doesn't have an elevator? So you guys slap on the face, disenfranchise writers like Kalia Hazlett, Deborah Greif, among others, and people like the legendary Edith Prentice. Rest in peace. Another thing, the Abraham Lincoln Bus Terminal. We know that the Port Unauthorized has rules, but riders like this one in a scooter don't follow the rules. I see this all the time. But ambassadors like this one stand there like statues, don't assist customers when use the air train. But again, we see homeless. When you guys are going to resolve everything?
Thank you. Ellie DiPaolo? Ellie? Isaac Smith? Isaac Smith. Joseph Morales? Right here. Yes, Joseph, welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I have a couple of issues that I want to discuss today. One, the Port Authority should do more to prevent guns from entering New York City through the Port Authority and George Washington Bridge bus terminals. This is because most guns used in crimes in New York City come from states that you would get to the city from via bus. For example, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina. The bus is also the easiest way to bring a weapon into New York State, since one is not prone to security checks at an airport or a traffic stop in a vehicle. In December 2024, Luigi Mangione, a name you guys might be familiar with, came to New York City from Atlanta via bus and likely brought the weapon he used to assassinate United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson with him. That is an incident that could have potentially been avoided via better security at one of our bus terminals. Initiatives could include things like the freestanding gun screeners piloted in the New York City subway system, and more random luggage checks for interstate coach buses, which is something I know the Port Authority has at least tried in the past. The Port Authority PD should coordinate with the NYPD and New York State Police so that checks could occur on buses from states where more New York guns originate from. Additionally, to avoid civil rights concerns and make checks efficient and widespread, all luggage checks for this purpose should be done for entire buses rather than individuals. Additionally, the Port Authority should increase signage in the Port Authority bus terminal to alert people disembarking from interstate buses about laws regarding gun possession in the Times Square area. This is especially important as gun restrictions in sensitive locations are rare in much of the United States, and violation of the Times Square laws is a felony. Also wanted to add to what I said earlier, we should keep security in deep mind when we construct the new Midtown bus terminal. The Port Authority should explore ways to enable free transfers between PATH and New York City Transit, as well as local and J Transit routes. This would be similar to policies already in place for the B-Line bus system, Westchester County, and NICE system, Nassau County. A step-up fee can also be utilized if needed to cover the gap between fares on certain systems. As we've heard from several speakers today, different PATH New Jersey Transit delays have required riders to transfer between systems, and perhaps if we offer free transfers, we would not have to deal with cross-honoring and things like that, simply because those free transfers would already be in place. Additionally, this would be especially useful for New Jerseyans who live along the path lines in cities with much lower car ownership and higher poverty rates than in New York suburbs where these policies are already reality. Lastly, the Port Authority should enable Omni cards for use on TAPS turnstiles, simply because many people rely on cash and are unbanked, and this includes much of the population in communities surrounding path lines in New York, Newark, and Jersey City. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Emanuela Morgan. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman O'Toole, members of the board. Welcome, Commissioner Dominguez, and congratulations. My name is Emanuela Morgan, and I'm a co-founder of Hudson County Complete Streets. I became a daily rider of PATH in 2009 when I moved to Hudson County from New York. Thanks to PATH's incredible contribution to the region, I found my home in New Jersey, where I also started a retail business, hired staff, started a nonprofit, and met a life partner. In addition to supporting the region's economy, PATH is opportunity. It is a lifeline for thousands of interstate commuters, and it's a major player in the fight against climate change. Every trip on PATH represents a reduction in greenhouse gases compared to with motor vehicle trips through the tunnels and bridges. A year ago, a fellow advocate and I came to this meeting to speak for PATH riders, and in the years since, we have seen this initiative grow with every PATH crisis. I'm here again today to request that the board develop a long-term plan for increasing service and expanding the system. I've had the great privilege of doing some international travel, and I want what the greatest cities in the world offer their riders. Integrated transit systems, metro train service to Newark Airport, elevators and escalators that work consistently. Dare I say, a long-term plan for a third tube. For years, the monthly operations report has compared ridership to 2019 levels, but in my lived experience, trains were dangerously and uncomfortably crowded during peak times in 2019. Instead of returning to those conditions, PATH riders want and deserve reliable service and a plan for expansion. I just want to close by thanking the commissioners and the authority for your commitment to sustainability and net zero emissions. And yet, I must ask for more. It's no secret that our region and our nation are in a housing crisis, and we in New Jersey, particularly in Jersey City, are doing our part to build residential communities. As our regions grow, we are asking the Port Authority to partner with the regional leaders and to partner with Jersey City, Hoboken, Hudson County, and Newark to achieve the infrastructure goals of the region and the net zero goals of the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Seth Hulling. Seth, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me here. I became aware of this meeting through the Hudson County Complete Streets group. It seems like they're doing great work. Wanted to emphasize the need for off-peak service. I'm a member of IATSE Local 1, a stagehand working on Broadway, Lincoln Center, other types of entertainment events, and so often our hours are sporadic and random, maybe in at 8 a.m., nice, during the regular commute, but then getting off at 11 p.m. regularly. If you ever had to commute back through Port Authority bus terminal at 11 p.m. regularly, you know how much you don't want to do it. It would be great if we could clean that up. I think that, so to say that we need more off-peak services for other modes of transit, PATH, obviously you guys aren't light rail, but if light rail could be expanded, that'd be great. Off-peak service would be really, really helpful. And I think that next capital budget that you guys come up with, if you could keep that in mind and really try to prioritize putting more money into PATH. I think that a lot of people would really appreciate that. Another time when I've found the PATH service really lacking is pre and post game for the New York Red Bulls out at Sports Illustrated Stadium. Sometimes you get done with the game, you go up to the Harrison stop, and it's like 35 minutes until the next train, 40 minutes until the next train. I mean, can you imagine getting out of a game at Yankee Stadium and then going down and having to wait 35 minutes? The bedlam that would be waiting for the D train, I mean, that would be insane. So if a little bit of thought and respect to the fans that go out to Harrison for those games, put a little more thought towards them, I think we'd really appreciate it. A lot of the other capital projects that are going on in the region are really about maintaining the service that we have. Replacing the Port Authority bus terminal is essential, but it is just about maintaining a bus terminal in Midtown. Same thing would go with the Gateway Tunnel. It's a shame that ARC didn't happen, but here we are just trying to make tunnels so that what happened during when Sandy happened doesn't cripple our infrastructure, our transportation. And I really wish that folks would be a little more ambitious about expanding service, not just making sure that we still have a bus terminal and making sure that we have a tunnel for trains to go through, but like What about expanding PATH to North Hudson? Or what about having the PATH train actually go out to Newark Airport? Really expanding the footprint of the PATH, expanding the footprint of public transit in the region. I feel like people aren't really concentrating on that because we just need to, we're hanging on for dear life just to keep the service that we have. And I would really hope that you guys would look to expand the options rather than just maintaining what we have. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Well, that concludes the live speakers. We have 5 speakers who have submitted a written audio or video statement. We have a written from Eva Jacqueline, a audio from Catherine Brennan, a video from Ashley Verma, a video from Kristen Hart, and a video from Matt Bucky's Highland. All of those will be attached to the today's transcript and also will be posted on the website. All righty. Anybody else besides that signed up?
No, that's it.
All righty. Now it's time to proceed with the voting on the items before the board for our consideration. As Chair of the Committee on Operations, I will now present one item under the committee's purview. This item authorizes 2 leases with the Don John Marine Company, LLC, for its use and occupancy of several berths and associated upland area at Port Newark at market rates. Don John's required to invest a minimum of $2 million in connection with the lease for 2 of the berths, berths 20 and 22. Prior to making a motion, are there any recusals?
There are no recusals.
Motion, please. So moved. Second. Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage.
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Eve.
Yes.
Commissioner Fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher.
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe.
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Those votes are in order. Those items have been approved. As Vice Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, I'll report on 3 items. The first item authorizes the award of a construction management services agreement to support the implementation of the interim bus terminal storage and staging facility and ramps component of Phase 1 of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Program. Prior to making a motion, are there any recusals?
There are no recusals.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage.
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Eve.
Yes.
Commissioner Fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher.
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe.
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
All right, the second item authorizes $20 million in additional planning for the new Midtown Bus Terminal facility, Phase 2 of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Program. Any recusals?
No recusals.
All right, any questions or comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage.
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Eve.
Yes.
Commissioner Fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher.
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe.
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Motions have been accounted for. That passes. The last item authorizes a $28 million preliminary planning and design work for a future project to replace the civil infrastructure and paths uptown under river tunnels. Prior to making a motion for the item, I ask if there's any recusals.
No recusals.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage.
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Eve.
Yes.
Commissioner Fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher.
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe.
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
All the votes are in order. This item has been approved. There being no further business, I move to adjourn.
So
Have a
moved.
second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. We'll see everybody in September.
Thank you. is Steve Nesson with WNYC Guthmas. Steve.
Hello, sir, gentlemen.
Hey, Steve.
Just a quick follow-up. The mayor of Hoboken was asking about the $31 million that was spent at the PATH station there. What was fixed, and why is it having issues again after spending that much money?
Jim?
So part of the $31 million was the interlocking that failed. So it's a defect. We're looking into that. The manufacturer has been working with us. We're working with our internal experts. We brought in external experts, and we're trying to figure out how to reinforce the switch to withstand a pretty tough and unique demand at an old facility like Hoboken. We're very regretful, but we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it back on track and service restored.
And listen, as you heard at the board, the executive director and their chief operating officer were really upset by it, and we apologize for it. And we put a lot of pride in putting the Hoboken package together, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And if it's a manufacturing or design defect, we're going to get to the bottom of it and have it quickly repaired as quickly as possible and safely as possible. So stay tuned. Next question.
Yeah, any further update on the PATH train, how to improve service? Someone asked why don't you call an emergency? Why don't you? And why not expedite some of the repairs?
So we are treating this switch failure as an emergency. We've been working around the clock. I think the very next day, the manufacturer was on site. We brought in all of our external consultants. But this is a safety item. It's something that, as much as we would like to fix it overnight, you have to do the proper analysis so that we get it done right. I mean, we wish we got it right the first time. So we have to absolutely make sure safety's at the top, that whatever the fix is, it's going to last, and we're going to avoid a similar incident.
But rest assured, it is a top priority.
And can I follow up for one more question, not on PATH related, but there's been 2 bus crashes now at the Port Authority bus terminal. What's going on with that?
Diane Eller, come on up.
Yes, good morning. So this morning there was a crash on the bottom level, the lower level of one of the ramps heading into the bus terminal. One bus rammed into the other. There were over 30 injured, so it's very serious. As a result, there was an accident investigation that took place. So it is the second, as you mentioned, bus terminal accident that's happened. I've been involved in the bus terminal for almost over 2 decades, and I'll tell you, it is a rare occurrence. So every accident, though, we completely investigate, and we look for ways to mitigate any incidents like this. During the entire event, we stayed in touch with New Jersey Transit, and we'll be working with them to see what we could have done to avoid this.
And the first one, there was a medical incident with the driver, which caused an accident, which was obviously unforeseeable and unfortunate. Okay, thanks. Next, Tom.
Sorry, Diane. Our next question is Tom Ewing with Professional Mariner Magazine. Tom, do we have you?
I think that's your cue.
You can take it.
No. Beth's going to take that one. Do we have him? Tom, you muted?
He is on.
He's on. Tom?
I just unmuted.
Okay, great.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you now, Tom.
Good, thank you. I appreciate the chance to participate remotely.
Sure.
Yeah. In October, the Port Authority was awarded $344 million for US EPA Clean Projects reports. There's a bad feedback with this audio. At any rate, I was wondering, what's the status of the Clean Ports projects with the Port Authority, and have you been able to access US EPA's money?
Okay, we got your question. Beth Ann?
Good afternoon, Tom. So we have executed the grant with the US EPA, and we are now in the process of executing sub-grant agreements with each of our tenants that will be ultimately using those funds. And those funds will be used for the purchase of clean, non-diesel operated equipment in the marine terminals, as well as the infrastructure that's needed to support the charging of that equipment and in some instances, we'll be putting in what will be the first ship charging or electric power for ships on the New Jersey side of the river. So things are advancing well at this point. No money has been spent yet, but we're gearing up for the terminal operators to do that before the end of the year.
Great. Thanks, Beth. Tom?
And I just wanted to triple check. Do we have Lorianne LaRocco from CNBC on?
All right, Tom, let's move it.
Next up is Samantha Liebman with New York One. Sam?
Yep, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thanks. I just was noticing that you guys are taking down the toll booths at the George Washington Bridge, but basically you're funneling 3 lanes of traffic, local traffic, into one, sort of like what happened at Bridgegate. I mean, are you like aware of that? It's really causing backups into the local streets. And I'm wondering if there are any plans to alleviate that, because it looks like you're doing this into November.
Hi. Yes, we are removing the rest of the canopy that's left. It's a remnant that's left over before we went with cashless tolling. That work does necessitate the closing of 3 lanes, so we do have to narrow the ramp to that work site in order to protect the workers at the site and the customers who are using the facility. The good news is when the work is completed, it'll be a safer, more efficient roadway for everybody that's using it.
But isn't there concern about traffic backing up consistently into local streets during the week? I mean, this was the whole brouhaha over Bridgegate, where the lanes were closed and it was backing up. The same thing is happening now when you're funneling all of that traffic into one lane.
Yeah, we've been working very closely with the mayor's office from Fort Lee, as well as Fort Lee PAPD, in order to be able to mitigate those type of any kind of traffic backup. Port Authority and Fort Lee have added additional police resources to manage the traffic. And in addition, when we notice local backups, we're actually holding the mainline traffic and we're pulling the local traffic in order to get those concerns.
All right, thank you.
Tom, next question.
And Sam, we can send you these also. We notify the public through travel advisory and other means also. Next up is Colleen Wilson with the record. Colleen?
Yeah, thanks. Just wanted to follow up on that one. How long is that work going to be taking place? And will you continue moving down the line as to remove all the canopies? Is this can you just kind of maybe walk through that project a little bit more in detail?
We expect the construction, the removal of that canopy. It'll take place, hopefully it'll all be removed by the end of the year, and then we'll be putting in place just some civil site work in order to be able to improve the roadway itself. It's to straighten it out a little bit more, again, to provide those efficiencies. So we expect all the canopy work to be completed this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Our last question is Larry Higgs with New Jersey Advanced Media.
Thanks. 2 path-related questions. I'm sure that's not a surprise. First one is, how do you respond to Commissioner O'Day and the other elected officials' requests for timelines, more transparency, and more information following path incidents? How's that going to be handled?
Jim?
So, we do the normal communication through social media, which is the quickest way to get information out to the public. We've implemented more signage. In terms of the status of the fix, that's underway. And as soon as we get a better line on when we'll be able to implement the fixes and get back up to service, we will use our normal communications challenges to get that out. In terms of the broader communication with the community, we're in the process of setting up a number of events where we can get out and listen to people, share information about the system and what we're doing going forward. Path Forward, as we've announced in the past, is scheduled to end in the second quarter of next year. We're still on track for that. So we have an eye on what's next and how we can improve service and reliability.
And Larry, just so we're clear, like hearing from the residents and hearing from the 5 electeds today was really, really helpful, and we're continuing to have that engage in that dialogue, and our GoCorp people are engaging with the local officials and the community active groups on a daily basis.
Okay, and the second question has to do with the nuts and bolts out there. How much of that interlocking has to be replaced? I've heard several different kinds of parts being named: guide rails, switch points, issues with ballast. So exactly what needs to be replaced in that interlocking?
We're still working on the details of that. It's not anticipated that we're going to have to pull it all out and reinstall it. It's about taking the design, evaluating where the failure points were, and putting in reinforcement. So, again, we're still early days. We have some parts on order to do some reinforcement. And while the investigation continues, we're bringing in an outside expert in this area to do an independent assessment of what we found and what the manufacturer finds. And that's why we're being very careful and deliberate about the permanent fix. But as soon as we have a better schedule and timeline, we will communicate it.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
That concludes the Q&A. Thank you very much, everyone.